Hello everyone, Happy New Year. Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and let's talk champagne. Is champagne worth it? Is champagne worth all of that money, hundreds of dollars of bottles, or even $100 a bottle? Is it worth it? And what are some alternatives to champagne? And I probably did not. Let's see if I can fix this. Ooh, I can't reverse this. Hopefully you can read the labels as I pop them up here. Let's see. So there's no doubt that champagne rules. Champagne is an awesome product. Champagne is being from Champagne, France, being a sparkling wine. So let's first go over what champagne is and then go over some options. Now, champagne, there's 84,000 acres planted, or roughly 80,000 acres of grapes growing in Champagne, France. Champagne, several hours east of Paris is how you get to Champagne. So there's roughly about 80,000 acres. There's about 70,000 people growing grapes for Champagne. Now there's only 4,000 houses or 4,000 Champagne houses. All the big guys, or the majority of the big guys, the more popular ones, Moet Chandon, Nicolas Fourier, these are cooperatives, or they actually buy grapes from growers. Now keep in mind there's 70,000 growers, 80,000 acres, 4,000 producers. So all the big guys, they go out and they source all the grapes from other places, from people that are growing the grapes. They don't grow the grapes themselves. So some of the biggest names out there, the stuff that you're paying top dollar for, they don't actually own the vineyard. They just buy the grapes. They have contracts and they buy grapes from a bunch of other people. Or they're in a co-op and they have thousands of grape growers in the co-op and the grapes come in. There's been a big trend the last 5, 6, 7 years for it's called grower champagne. So the house making the champagne is also growing the grapes. So it's out of all of estate grown, estate bottled, estate made. And that's one of the bigger trends going on. That is the big trend in champagne now. But again, those aren't going to be the big names that you recognize in the stores. So you're going to walk in and you're not going to know these grower champagnes because they're not that big. They're such small, minute production. So here we're starting with some grower champagnes. Now this is a vintage champagne here. There's two ways to buy champagne vintage. This is 2001 vintage. Up in the corner there you can see 2001. There's two different ways to buy champagne. It's called NV or vintage. And the best year of that house, the best years, they might not be every year, it might be every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to claim a vintage where they're taking all the grapes and the juice from that 1 year to make one champagne, just like wine. However, the more common way to do it is called non-vintage, where they're actually going to mix year after year after year and blend, and there's not going to be a vintage on the bottle, non-vintage. Now the price of vintage versus non-vintage is pretty drastic, probably twice the price. So if you want to splurge for champagne and you want to spend $100 and $150, make sure you're buying something that's vintage. If you're going to spend under $100, you can probably get something that is non-vintage. Now we're talking about restaurant prices in restaurants. So vintage versus non-vintage, both are very good. Now Champagne just has an allure because it's a small region in France that has this limestone, that has these caves underneath cities like Epernay and Reims, and it's a magical story. So part of the allure of this is the story of Champagne. Now no doubt that Champagne by far has some of the strictest regulations in the world when it comes to growing grapes. Champagne, France, an acre of vineyard there would cost about $1 million. So it is the most expensive, hands down, acreage on the planet for growing wine. So that's part of the factor as well. But even to prune the grapes and how the density of the vines, everything is done to a very strict scientific and traditional method that the French carry on. And if you're not doing that, you can't make champagne in Champagne, France. So let's now walk. Now, first of all, the bubbles that come in here, when you pour a glass of champagne, they estimate there's like 1 million bubbles per glass. And the reason why that is because the bottles, the champagne is fermented in this bottle. It's getting its sparkles, it's getting its bubbles in this bottle. It's not getting it from somewhere else. What they do is they bottle ferment it, and they do a riddling system where the bottles sit in these racks. And every week, every month, they go through and they do quarter turns on these throughout the aging process or the fermenting process of this wine. And what happens is in the neck of the wine here becomes all the sediment, all the dead yeast. And what they have to do when you buy champagne, there's no dead yeast in here. What they do is they have to now freeze this. They freeze this, they flash freeze it, and they dosage it, so they open it up, pop that out, and then retop it off with fresh wine. And then put the cork back on it, and now it goes for sale. So this is totally particle free. There's no sediment in here, and that's how they make champagne. So it's a very laborious process as well. If you're going to buy something that's cheap and that's bubbles, so here's something that's really inexpensive. This is just sparkling wine. This comes from Spain. This is actually sparkled. The bubbles come here just like you would buy like Pepsi or Coke or any soda or bottled sparkling water. They're actually injecting a gas into here to make it bubbles. These are really, really inexpensive, folks. There's no art or grand art to making stuff like this. It's an inexpensive wine. You throw the gas in it and you're done with it. It's sparkling. A lot of people use these for weddings, for banquets, for things like this. This is great for mimosas. By no means is this champagne. By no means is this even called cava. So there's a couple different ways that you can get bubbles into the bottles of champagne or sparkling wine. The first one that I mentioned was you actually bottle ferment it. So the yeast and the bubbles actually happen in the bottle. The second way is you take a big vat, and while the stainless steel vat, and while the wine is fermenting in there, you introduce the yeast and you make the bubbles in there, and then you put this sparkling wine into a bottle, seal it, and put it onto the market. The last way here was where you actually inject gas into the vat. You're not doing anything magical. You're just injecting gas basically like soda, and putting it into the bottle, and putting it onto the market. Those being the cheapest. Let's see. Here's a bottle of cava. So now, believe it or not, cava is a fantastic value. This bottle here retails for like $12, $15, and a lot of cava is $12, $15, $20. The neat thing about cava, this says traditional method. Traditional method means that they're actually bottle fermenting this. So they're putting the yeast in here, they're putting it on its side, they're getting that dead yeast there. But instead of a person coming and turning this by hand every week, a quarter turn, it's actually done by machine. It's called riddling. Riddling can be done by hand. In some of the bigger places where it's mechanicalized, it's actually done by machine, where the bottles just sit there and they vibrate, and every week or so they just actually turn a quarter of a turn. And turn a quarter of a turn, so there's no human contact, which of course lowers the price drastically than a person sitting there going through. And these aren't aged in caves, in limestone caves underneath a city. This is just basically economically bottle fermented, but it is fermented in the bottle, folks. Cava, by law, has to be fermented in the bottle, so that's really cool. Now, Prosecco does not have to be fermented in the bottle. Prosecco is actually fermented in the stainless steel tanks. So this has a better fermentation. This is more traditional in the champagne method. This is non-traditional champagne method. So Prosecco, coming from northern Italy. Jamie and I were just in northern Italy, and we actually toured Fantanelle. 4.5 million cases they produce out of this winery a year. We went to also their other winery, La Roncaille, which is their play winery, which has 50,000 bottles of some amazing Cab Francs, Refuscos, Sauvignon Blancs, some really amazing wines that we have here. But back to Prosecco. So Prosecco comes from northern Italy. It's not fermented in the bottle. Prosecco is very popular. Prosecco in the last 15 years has just skyrocketed in sales. Everybody loves Prosecco. And that's because it tends to be a little more rounder or a little more fruity, fruit forward. I don't want to say sweet or fruity, but it has a little more fruit to the palate, which makes it more pleasant to a lot of people. See, the thing about champagne is, the grapes that go in here are super, super acidic. Okay, and that's what makes champagne champagne. And that's why champagne goes with fattier foods. That's why it mixes well with caviar. That's why it goes well with buttery dishes, with scallops, with things like that, because it's such an acidic grape. This isn't acidic. This is not nearly as acidic. So it's a lot more fan friendly, or a lot more friendlier to the masses, the Prosecco. Now, you can buy other types of fermented wines from Italy. Here's a Belusi Cuvée. This is not considered Prosecco because they're breaking the law. They're still fermenting it in a stainless steel tank and putting it into the bottle, but they're using different grapes. Might be from a different region. This bottle is probably 20 bucks, 25 bucks retail. And I gotta tell you, I love this. This is great. I would totally drink this for New Year's Eve. This is fantastic. It's dry, just delicious. It's really, we just bought a 6-pack of this. This was just started being imported into New York. Really awesome. That's from Belusi. Let's see. I got one more here that I really want to talk about, and this comes from Italy, folks. When Jamie and I were just in northern Italy, we took 2 weeks. We took 20 people with us for a week through vineyards, and then we spent another full week going up way north in Italy and almost to Slovenia, into where they're making Prosecco, and into Friuli, and down the base of the Dolomites, and all the way back into Lugana and to Lamora. So we covered that whole band of northern Italy, and we noticed that. You want to come sample? Come sample. So we noticed that a lot of these wineries were making a traditional champagne method. They're not allowed to put champagne in the bottle. They're not allowed to put really method champenoises, even though in America, a lot of wineries that are making a bottle fermented sparkling put method champenoise. It's really not method champenoise. Method champenoise is such a complicated thing, from pruning to everything, to the aging, to everything, that the Italians call it method classico. So this is from Zenato Winery. This is their Lugana. This is their sparkling. This is what I'm drinking New Year's Eve. Now, like I said, a lot of the wineries we were going to in northern Italy, all of a sudden were pulling out sparkling wines for us to taste. But it wasn't Prosecco. It wasn't the stuff that was fermented in the stainless steel vats. It was stuff that's being fermented in the bottle, just like champagne, but at half the price, which is the neat thing. And the characteristics were across the board with this stuff. It was amazing. A lot of the stuff is dry and crisp, just like champagne, but really amazing stuff. This is on our list, folks, for $57. Zenato, an amazing winery, and this is coming from Lugana, just south of Lake Garda, the largest lake in Italy. And I gotta tell you, $57 on a restaurant list for something that's bottle fermented in here, this is an amazing value. This is an amazing product. This is what I recommend. In fact, this is what I'm drinking New Year's Eve. This is what I'm personally drinking. I ordered an extra bottle for myself to celebrate. I'm not going to do champagne like I have done in the past. If I start off with something, I'll probably start off with Prosecco and then work my way to this. So just as a quick recap, there's 2 different types of champagnes. One's a vintage, one's a non-vintage. Vintages ones are reserved for the best year. They might be produced every 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They command a high price. The next level down is called NV non-vintage. All champagnes are bottle fermented, which means they ferment inside the bottle. They're all turned and riddled by hand, degorged, all by hand. Really neat, very laborious process. They're aged typically in limestone caves. The bigger guys have all the vaults underneath, Ronce and Epernets, where they age everything there. Really, really good. So 2 types of champagne. Not saying don't buy champagne. I'm just saying here's some other options. Cava, you can buy some of the best cavas out there. Some of the really fantastic cavas, vintage cava, probably retail for $30, $40, $30. You can buy amazing cavas. Cavas are from Spain. Again, it's a dry, crisp, sparkling. The nice thing about cavas is they're all bottle fermented. You ferment it in the bottle. The next sparkling we spoke about was Prosecco. Prosecco coming from northern Italy, not quite as acidic. They're fermented in big stainless steel vats and then put into a bottle, which is a much more economical way of doing it. And the last one, now these are not popular, folks. The bottle fermented Italian sparklers are not that popular at all because Prosecco really leads the market. Prosecco is the one that dominates the market. But if you can find something that's classical method, something that's bottle fermented from Italy, I would definitely say try it, buy it, experiment with it. If you're coming to Aroma Time, just ask for the Italian bubbles that I'm drinking, and that's it right there, Zenato Lugana. And like I said, a lot of vineyards make these in northern Italy, but not a lot of vineyards export them because they don't make enough. They just simply don't. It's a very laborious process. and they just don't make enough of them to go around, so they keep them for themselves and for the immediate area there, and so that's why these really aren't that popular. So, yep. Sorry, Joe. No Dom. No Dom. I hope you caught the beginning of it, but no Dom for us. And that's it. Everybody have a happy, healthy New Year, very prosperous, and definitely stay warm, especially up here in New York. It's like 10 degrees out right now. I'm actually going out for a quick run hike with some people from the Trail Association on the mountain here. So I'm going to go bundle up right now and get on the trails, and hope to see everybody soon. And thanks for watching as always. If you like this video, hit like, leave a comment, and we'll talk to everybody later.